Hello, welcome to the Coexisting podcast. I'm your host. My name is Sam. If you're new here, you're completely welcome, absolutely welcome. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do hit that subscribe button. And I'll try to keep bringing interesting content through to you and interesting guests as well. So today I'm excited because, speaking of interesting guests, this guest is incredibly busy. Incredibly busy. I had to literally beg her, please just make time for me. Just clear even just 2 hours just so we can sit down and talk. Patience Fwalanga, welcome, honey. You look
thank you. She lied. I'm not busy.
You look fabulous.
She lied.
She is very busy, by the way. Very busy.
Thank you, Sam.
I'll
how
get
are
into
you?
how busy you are later on. You look fabulous. I love the outfit.
Thank you so much. You look beautiful
how
too.
How are you doing? Thank you. I try.
I know. I'm okay. It's so good to be on the copper belt.
You see?
After a long time.
You see, she was on the copper belt, but now relocated to Osaka. Hence why you're so busy.
I'm not busy. Let's agree on one thing. No, she's lying about that. I'm not that busy. No.
But before I introduce, I should have done this. Patience Fwalanga is a media and public relations practitioner with over 14 years experience and a seasoned MC host, peer educator, and mother of 2 grown boys. Then I should have said, Patience, welcome to the Call Her Sam podcast.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for making time to sit down with me. Now, going through your Facebook mail and seeing all these different places you're traveling to, it looks amazing. And I can see you're having the time of your life because you post pictures when you're at the falls, when you're in some unknown location I've never even seen before in my entire life. So what have you learned about yourself during those travels?
Firstly, I didn't realize I post so much.
Oh, well, you do.
My colleague Henry should not see this. He always tells me how I'm consistent about posting.
Yeah. And consistency is important.
So what have I learned about myself? I didn't think I'd enjoy traveling so much. I do enjoy it, but it's very tedious. So what I've learned is I'm able to withstand prolonged periods of travel, because sometimes I need to go to places where we must travel for 2 days. I'll be out of Lusaka maybe for 3-4 days. So the biggest lesson has been I'm able to withstand long hours of driving, long hours of traveling, and getting straight into a production when we arrive, and life goes on.
What's the best thing about traveling, and what's the biggest challenge?
The nature of my traveling mostly is work related, okay? My role currently demands that I move from one place to another to gather content. That's a story for another day, what I'm doing exactly. But the nature of our travels is that we have no choice. It's different from where you must make a plan. I want to go to a certain place and experience what happens there and so forth. But for us, you are sort of forced to go there. So the good thing is you get to experience the various aspects to life, how people live in different localities. My jurisdiction is not just Zambia. Our church district is Zambia, Malawi, and Zimbabwe. So I get to experience the other 2 countries as well. So the upside, the good thing is you experiencing new things, the cultures. Sometimes you do get into culture shock. The cultures, yes, that's the upside. The downside, I hate to speak about this. It's how you must survive not having a toilet. Yes, I will talk about it. Especially in our country. When you're traveling, there are very few convenient places where you could stop and just be able to refresh. That's the worst thing about my travels. Since you follow my Facebook, you may know I suffer from endometriosis. And at certain times, I just need to freshen up after an hour or 2, and that's the hardest thing that I have to do. I've gone to an extent of adjusting how I eat, what I eat, what I drink. I cannot take water when I'm driving from one place to another because I'll need to stop somewhere. So for a man, it's different. They're able to just park somewhere and pretend they're not doing anything and then relieve themselves. But for a woman like me, I think that's the biggest struggle. And I would want to reach out to people that are in business. Look to making these convenient places in various localities for people that are traveling like me. You don't know how much we crave for just
a nice, clean,
workable toilet. you don't want me to start with the toilets that we experience. There is this deliberate policy with fueling stations. I don't know if it's a written rule somewhere, but what I have to come to understand and believe is that they're supposed to provide these convenience places for free for travelers.
Oh, and where they don't make you pay a fee.
Exactly. That's what I believed. I stand to be corrected. But having traveled this country for the time that I've been traveling now, you will experience that you get some places where they'll charge you at a filling station.
Yes,
they'll tell you, you can't use my bathroom, you must pay. Even when I'm getting fuel from them, even when I'm buying something in their store. And then you get to some places where their toilets are open, but they're not so clean. Yeah, so I think that's a downside for me, and I look forward to a time when we will have in this country strategic points where we have serious clean conveniences where people can relieve themselves as they travel. The southern route, there's a place, I don't want to advertise them on your podcast, but there is a place, and I think it's doing it, that works. I wish we could have 2 or 3 along that route. Yes. Eastern side, there's nothing. When you go to the northwestern province, oh my God, you don't want me to start. Yeah, so that's the worst thing, and I cry about that every day, because then I'm forced to get into very unhealthy tendencies. Imagine not drinking water for 12 hours.
I can't even, because I'm a water.
Yeah, because sometimes we have to travel for 12 hours straight, so no water until I get to my destination. That's when I'll drink water. Yeah.
You mentioned your work. Talk to me about tell me about your background, how you got into media. Was it something you always wanted to do, or you had other plans?
Okay, so media, I'll take you back to secondary school. Back in secondary school, we had dreams. My friends and I first wanted to be lawyers.
I wanted to be a lawyer too.
Yes. That's interesting, eh? We should try it.
We should.
There's still time to change careers. Yeah, so I wanted to be a lawyer. Then later on, I realized I had a passion for media. And I think that was now in grade 11, 12, as we were getting into grade 12, I was resolved I wanted to do media. We had a media club at school. I was so active there and all that. But after finishing school, I couldn't go into media. Because then it was not so popular for parents or guardians to support their children into media. You know what they say about the media, but they used to say then. So that's not a space they want to encourage you to go. So my father-in-law had a conversation, and he told me, you're a people person. Look at a program that will make you still interact with people, but outside media. So I went into marketing. Before I went for marketing training, immediately after school, I worked with NGO. I'm still passionate about HIV/AIDS, peer education. So I was working for an NGO, doing those programs for the youth and whatever. So then went for marketing. I did marketing. After I got my qualification in marketing, I had to leave the NGO because I needed to practice. Then I found myself in a media house. Yeah, I went into a media house. I think it was an act of God. Yes, I found a job in a media house as a marketing executive. Fast forward a few years in the media house, I was able to do almost everything there. And that's how I found myself in the media. So I was able to do a lot of things in media without a proper paper for media. I just had the experience with working in a media house, with being able to do the various things in media, the newscasting, program presenting, that sort of thing. So years later, I decided I wanted to go to school and still pursue media, which was my initial passion. And yeah, here we are. So now I have qualification in media, and now my role is both media and PR related. Yes.
PR?
Yeah, public relations.
So again, like, that's okay. PR. Talk to me about that.
So the program I did is a combination of mass communication and public relations. The time I went for training, I was still in the media. I think that time I was heading a radio station on the corporate belt here. So I go to school and I'm studying both public relations and mass communication. And when it came to getting experience in PR, I interned for PR in some institution as I was still with the media house, hence the experience in PR. So my current role, because I work for a church organization, and the church organization is such that we have a PR department, but now we have a media house for the church. Okay. Yeah, so my role is in between the PR role and media. Media in that I have to get content to have this TV station run. PR, I still need to attend to the aspects of public relations for the church organization. So that's how come my role is now PR and media. And if you were to ask me which one I like between the two, I think I would, if I was given a choice, I would lean more on the PR aspect. But with the media experience that I have, I'm able to just flow in the media role. Like I would do a lot of things with my eyes closed. Yes. Got it. Still learning with the PR space, and I've had the privilege of getting interactions with people that are in the PR space, people that have had a lot of experience in PR, and that has really helped me to be able to hone my skills further when it comes to PR. Yeah.
Interesting. Shifting from work, travel, but what, before we go from there, what's a piece of technology or travel gadget you cannot live without when you're traveling?
Definitely my phone. I don't even have to think twice about it. It's the phone.
So wait, you don't believe in limiting your screen time?
I don't know how to do that. I've been trying to, because recently I've been struggling with getting enough sleep in the night. So
are you on your phone before you could sleep, or are you one of those people in your bed with the phone scrolling?
Yes and yes. Yes.
The problem is you.
Yeah, so I read about it. I saw people talking about it on social media, screen time and whatever. I'm trying to adjust, but I don't know if I'll manage. Yeah, so my phone.
Your phone?
Yes, I'll be with my phone everywhere and
You
anywhere.
traveled to, in one of your many travels, you were in Zimbabwe, you said?
Yes.
And your phone came in handy?
Very much so. I went. I can't forget that place. It's called Karoi. We went to Karoi. It's a Karura place in Zimbabwe, and we used Google Maps to get to our destination. So I proved to my colleague that my phone was the best. So wherever I am, I have my phone.
You have to have your phone.
Yes.
Your phone practically came in handy. It saved you, guys.
Yes. That's my go-to gadget.
Shifting from travel and work, you're a mom to two amazing, I was about to say little boys, not so little boys anymore. They are, I don't want to say it. Every time I see one of them, the older one, he's so tall.
He's very tall.
I'm like,
yeah, that's how I look at him. He's very tall.
You are now at that stage where you're like,
yeah.
Oh my,
they're all grown.
Like, yeah, mom.
Yeah.
Oh my.
They grow up so fast. They grow up so fast. One time, I went for his school visitation. He's in boarding school. So I go there and I'm looking for him. I couldn't see him. Then I find someone from his grade. Hi, can you find me this person in this dorm? And then, out of interest, are you his sister? I said, no, I'm the mother. Yeah, so they're grown like that. They're big boys. The older one is 13, going to 14. The younger one is 11 now.
Wow. Your work takes you to all corners of the country. Doesn't mom guilt come into play? Like you're spending so much time away from them?
Sometimes, but not all the times. I think what cushions it is the work that I put in when they were much younger. I was a very hands-on mom when they were younger, up to a certain point. And I think the work that I did then sort of compensates for when I'm not in their lives now. And we have a very active communication, even when I'm away from them. Even having him in boarding school does not stop him from making sure that he communicates with me every once in a while. Some time back, I'll joke about it with my friend and say, people in boarding school only call you when they need something. And then it just changed. Sometimes we just call and say, I called to check up on you. So where are you? How's work? What are you doing? So we have that constant communication, which really helps me with the issue of mom guilt. It doesn't really occur so much when they are older. I think most women who experience mom guilt is those that have to leave their kids when they're very, very small. I remember when I had my first son, I had just started work somewhere. I couldn't get maternity leave. So I started leaving him as small as 3 weeks. Yes. So then I experienced mom guilt.
Oh.
I had my mother. My mother is so hands-on.
Yes.
Yes, I had my mother living in the same town. So I would go and drop him at mom's place, go for work, take time off at lunch to go breastfeed, and then come back. I experienced mom guilt then. The short period that I would have to be away from him when I'm working full time. But I would compensate for the times that I'm with him in the evening, weekends. I was so much hands-on when they were younger. Yeah.
You're divorced now, and that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Is it isolating? Because a lot of people go through, when people are going through divorce, they say it's isolating. It's very, it's like a death, and it's heartbreaking.
Yes, and yes, and yes. Sometimes in our culture and in our society, that's a word that people don't want to say. Like,
Divorce.
They don't even want to hear you say it.
Divorce.
Do what?
How do you spell that? What is that?
Yeah.
Who?
So yes,
Divorce.
it's isolating because you find very few people that will be able to support you through it. Everyone who's going to support you through it is labeled a certain kind of way.
And they looked at as you're supporting this, so you're for this.
Yes, you aren't married. You're not a Christian. You're not grounded. You're not supposed to be near somebody who's failed, because our society believes somebody who is divorced is a failure. So yes, it's isolating. You find very few people that you can interact with. I'm coming from a background of being a church person, being from a community that is of church people, people that I'm connected with because of my faith. So now I'm experiencing the divorce. I'm going through a divorce. Very few people want to interact with you at that point. And also I think there's a certain degree of self-isolation as well, because you don't know who is who. And then later on I experienced realizing sometimes those who I thought were supporting and I could sit and talk to them were just looking for gossip. So at the time, you go vent to this person and you're thinking, this is my go-to person. This person hears me. This person is able to relate. And the next thing is a conversation they're having somewhere else with other people. It takes time for you to realize that. It took me forever actually to realize that. So that's also another reason why you get to isolate, because you experience one or two people that were not really supportive, but were looking for gossip conversations to take to their communities.
So is it like a death? Do you have to mourn what you had?
Yes, definitely. I think the experience is different from one person to another, but you're looking at, in my case, I was married for almost 14 years. You're looking at over maybe 18, 19 years of togetherness, because you were together before you get married. Then there's marriage, then there's children, there's families, it's a whole lot. And then you have to reframe all that. It's a whole lot. So those that describe it as a death, I think they have a point, because then you have to start shedding off certain layers of who you were. Unfortunately, the Zambian society has a woman identify themselves as a married person, and that's their identity. So when you go through a divorce, if you were only identified as a married woman, then you must get reborn. You must start living again. So you must mourn who that person was and now start creating another being. That's painful. When I was going through my divorce, I had somebody tell me about the ego, that the ego, when it gets old and frail, it isolates. Gets to a mountain somewhere. And just... Yeah. It's either it will wait for death or it will reincarnate. Oh, wow. But the process is painful either way. If it's going to die, it must deteriorate. It must go through the whole process. If not, it starts hitting itself on the beak until it breaks, then grows a fresh one. That's a very painful process. I think that's what happens when you are getting, or you're going through a divorce. You must shed certain layers of who you have been. You must reframe what you are. You must reframe your values, because and when you speak from the Christian background, you have grown up, you have believed it's still death. So now this has happened. It injures your beliefs.
Yes.
It injures your values.
Start to question a lot of things.
You question a lot of things. You question everything, actually. You question everything. So it's not something I would wish on anyone. No one. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And I think if it were up to me, I wouldn't want to see another woman going through a divorce.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not up to me. Unfortunately.
It's not up to you.
No.
Everybody's different. Now, do you think being on good terms with your ex is a sign of weakness? 'Cause
No.
It's I've witnessed situations, even within the family or just friends, and where contempt and anger seems to be the fuel that keeps one going. Whether the man or the woman, it keeps them going, and then it spills onto the children.
No.
So is it a sign of weakness or it's a sign of growth?
No. No. It's not a sign of weakness. Divorce has phases, like any other process.
Okay.
And I think there's certain stages where you take longer to pass through than others. I believe certain people have stayed so long on the phase where they're hurting and regretting and whatever, hence the contempt. I don't think there's anything wrong for you people after a divorce to coexist. Some processes are nasty, yes. The journey to finally being separated could be nasty. You could have gone through all sorts of things. You could have fought. You could have. The court process is something else, story for another day. But really, you ought to get to a place where that phase should pass. And when it does pass, especially if there are children involved, you must find a common ground to coexist. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually, for me, I think it's a sign of healing. It shows you are getting to a place of healing now, where you are able to coexist for the sake of the children, where you are able to compromise on certain things because of the children. I actually have a lot of respect for people that have been through divorce and are able to coexist with their previous partners than people that stay in marriages in the name of for the kids.
For the kids.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people who are staying because of in that process?
I don't think that's why they're staying.
What do you think they're staying?
They have their reasons. I don't think it's the kids. That's not a good reason to stay. That's not even a reason to stay.
I can't do any better than this, or I just don't want to be alone.
It depends. From one person to another, but believe me, if you were to ask me, I would discourage you to stay because of the children. Find a reason. There is always a reason.
But in our, like you said, in our Zambian society, in our setup, it's ikarafi ngaka ya kuisa. Ikarafi.
So that's the reason. That is the reason. It's the outside voices. It's the community. It's society. It's the values that we have established in our society, not the kids.
Not the kids.
So you're just using them as an excuse. The truth is, you have listened to the pastor who said, stay. The truth is,
you have listened to your mother.
Thank you. You've listened to yourself when you tell yourself you cannot survive outside that home. Thank you. It's not the kids. Please don't blame them. Don't bring them in the picture. They are very innocent.
They have nothing to do with your choices.
No. If you want to stay, stay because you want to stay. If you want to live, live because you want to live. Don't blame it on the children.
You spoke of healing. You mentioned healing. What does healing look like to you?
I read somewhere, I don't know what they were talking about, in what context, but I would want to refer it to now. I think healing is being able to talk about your experience without crying. That's what it means for me. Yes, because there was a time where I could not speak about my experience without breaking down. So that's healing. I'm able to actually smile about it and talk about divorce. Yes.
Wait, I'm trying to think of the people that I have spoken to, or even just my own situations from previous relationships, whatever, where you actually are able to speak without crying.
Yes. It does not evoke certain emotions. Then you know you are on the path of healing.
Where you can actually talk about it and smile a little and be like,
Exactly. But it's a process. Like I said, you will not achieve that in one day.
No, it's not overnight.
Exactly. So 1 minute you can smile, the next minute you will still be able to shed a tear. But just take note of those moments when you're able to sit in a conversation and not cry about it. When you're able to sit in a conversation, discuss whatever it is that you went through, and not feel bitter afresh. Because there's a certain bitterness that comes with recounting certain experiences. So for me, healing is you being able to sit in a conversation and not get bitter, to sit in a conversation and not get upset, to sit in a conversation and not break down, where you're not even able to put your thoughts together, to sit in a conversation and not curse. Yeah.
I would say, when you remember, forgive again.
Exactly.
When
you are able to forgive,
like,
then you're healing. Yeah.
Forgive again.
Yes.
For yourself, not for the other person.
Yes.
How are you choosing to lead your life or to live your life? Because I'm sure when you got a divorce, there was a lot of noise from family, from friends, like you said, and there was a lot of, oh no, but is this the right decision? I don't think you guys should. Maybe try and work it out, sit down, patch. How are you choosing to live your life outside? Like, first of all, I should ask, how did you handle that noise?
Unfortunately, the noise is still there.
Oh.
I think the noise will always be there.
Okay.
I say so because my ex-husband and I come from the same church.
Okay.
And now my role is in the church. And I move to various places where I meet people that knew us, that know us. So you find somebody who's just learning about it. And some people still refer me to his name when they meet me. So I must tell them, no, unfortunately. Oh, no. So for them, they're just experiencing it then. So then their noise starts then. But what happened? But you should have.
That all over
Yes.
you, like.
So the noise doesn't stop, unfortunately. How I have dealt with it and how I'm dealing with it, I think I've tried to block my ears as much as I can. It's hard. Most of the hurtful things that I've heard as a result of the noise, as a result of listening to the noise. And you know how it's hard to block your ears.
Yes,
you must put your hands up here.
I can't hear
Exactly. And like the eyes, for the eyes you just close them. But the ears, for you to block them, it's a whole process. So how I've dealt with it is sometimes I try to block my ears, and sometimes I always have to repeat certain things that I've heard in my own version. But why didn't you? So then I'll tell myself, you did this because of A, B, C, D. I have tried to do that. And also I've just tried to avoid certain conversations because they are a trigger. So sometimes people don't even mean to say certain things that they say in front of you, but it's just the environment where you are. It's just a conversation they are having. So I try as much as possible to avoid certain conversations and confrontations, because others can be confrontational. They will come to you with all sorts of theories. They will come to you with what they think is the truth of what they've heard. So mine is to restrain myself from reacting.
Oh, how do you do that?
I breathe in and out, count 10 backwards.
You're the breathing and out girl.
Yes, I would do that, and I smile a lot. Now I smile a lot. So even when someone is saying something very hateful, just be like, oh, okay. So that's what you heard. Oh, okay, I hear you and I understand. That's how you believe things should have happened, but no, that's not how it happened.
That's growth. The fact that you don't act out and be like, no, I finished playing.
Exactly. And I've stopped explaining myself.
Yes.
Earlier on, when it was happening, when the noise was the loudest, I would explain myself a lot. Like I would try and find time. Okay, let me give you my side of the story. That was painful. So I stopped explaining. So now when you come to me with your truth, I'll just say, oh, okay, is that what they said? Oh, okay. And I move on. A friend of mine, a close friend of mine, I wish I could mention her name, but I didn't ask for permission. Yes. She usually tells me, wear the crown. Whatever it is that they tell you, just say, oh, okay, yeah, that's me. Hey, you are the Shanshani, who Shanshani? Yes, that's me. You want me to teach you some skills? I'm very skilled in that area, that sort of thing. So that has really helped me deal with that noise. But the biggest lesson is that the noise doesn't stop. Maybe sometimes it gets quieter, but it doesn't stop, because you experience people every day that are hearing about it for the first time. You experience people that are only confronting you then. That's when they have the courage now to confront you. Years later, then they come to you and say all sorts of things, and you're just there, oh, okay. Yeah. I smile a lot.
Okay. What is it Michelle Obama said? When they go low, we go high.
Yes.
But sometimes it's hard to go high.
Sometimes it's hard, and it's okay when it's hard. You must just admit, now it's hard.
Now it's hard. Like,
Yes.
okay, I'm stepping
Yes.
out, removing myself from the situation.
Self-isolation.
Self-isolation.
Step backward.
That's also good.
After a moment when they're done talking, then come out and carry on with your life. I think that has worked for me. No, I stopped explaining myself.
Love that. Love that for you. There's an interview that's going viral. I sent you this and I said, take time to listen to it. Yeah, I sent you this.
Yes, you did, ma'am.
And that's okay. I explained it to you. We spoke about it a little bit. Pastors Kelly and Reginald Steele. She said a lot of things during that interview that were like, I think my mouth was open from start to finish. That interview, because yeah, it was a lot. So there was something that she said, where she said single people are still single because they don't want to be mistreated. They're not willing to be mistreated. Sorry, not don't want to be. They are not willing to be mistreated. This is a woman who's gone through, excuse my French, hell with this person that she's still with. A lot of people have their own opinions. Oh, but they come forward, they've told their story, they're being authentic, etc. Fine. That's her story. Like she said, it's not for everybody. But as a woman, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, no, ma'am. Did God wants you to suffer? No. So what's your take on when she said single people are not willing? They're single because they're not willing to be mistreated. She said that.
No one should be willing to be mistreated. No one.
Do you think people enjoy being mistreated?
No, they shouldn't. Then they're not okay. Then there's something wrong. Honestly.
Like something,
yes.
Something's shifted, something's gone wrong.
There is definitely something wrong. It could be with their brain, it could be with their upbringing, it could be with their values.
She did say her mother left her father when he stepped out.
There's all that, yes. So no one should be willing to be disrespected. No one.
But it's that thing where she
to be abused. No one.
You should be willing to be just a little bit, but you get over it. No. Get past it.
No, I disagree. And I think for me, my focus has been every time I have a conversation, especially with the younger people, the younger girls, take time to work on your values. You must know what your values are and be able to stand by them. So if you are someone who's grounded and who has done the work and knows yourself, you will not be willing to be mistreated by anybody. Not out of love or anything, no. So I don't agree with her. Single people are single for various reasons and we will not know until we speak to them. So there's no stencil. Everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different reason why they have chosen to remain single. And I think in our society, if we were to bring it back to our society, there are very few people that choose to be single. I don't think anyone wakes up and just says, I will be single for the rest of my life. No. So I don't agree with her.
Single people are single willing. Because they're not willing to be mistreated.
No one should be willing. If you are in the right frame of mind, you should not be willing.
Punish me.
No. No. Disrespect me. No.
Punish me, Jeffrey.
No. No. I don't agree. No.
I heard that line. I was like,
no. She has a lot of work that she needs to do with herself. Unfortunately.
Speaking of singleness, are you open to dating? If yes, someone in your age group or younger? Because I heard someone say men our age are toxic and younger men come with little perks.
That's a mouthful. Am I open to date? I don't know yet. Like I told you, healing is a process.
Yes.
So I may not be able to determine at what stage of my healing I am, and I don't want to be toxic to the next person.
Yes, you don't want to bleed all over them.
Yeah. So as and when we get to that bridge, we will cross it. The process that I've been through has led me to relook at my values a lot. And if I'm going to be with somebody, it has to be someone who understands what my values are and whose values will complement mine. I will not easily compromise. And also my experience has taught me to never say never. So I wouldn't say no, I will never date because I am a bitter person and whatever. No. Anything is possible with time. Yeah.
Never say never. Would you get married again?
Like my answer to the previous question, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If I meet somebody who resonates with my values, if I met somebody who is going to understand me and we get some sort of understanding, because at my age you will not get in anything without your brain. So when we go in there with that brain, yes, we will have that conversation then.
So which phase of your life did you enjoy? Your single life before or married life? Like, how old were you when you got married?
Yeah, that's a good question. How old were you when you got married? How old were you, Patience? I should have been 23 or 24 when I got married. So when you say singlehood, before I got married, I don't think there's anything to speak about then, because my upbringing was such that I was brought up in a Christian home, so grounded. I was so busy, like I told you, from grade 12. I have a job. I have a whole NGO that I'm heading with my colleagues, and that. There was very little time to experience what other people would experience as singlehood. So I transitioned from being this mother's daughter who has been doing this and that in church, at work, in the community, and the next thing I am married. So there's very little to remember about when I was single, because at 23 your life is just starting as an adult. So I wouldn't say I experienced singlehood then, because I got married from my mother's house. I never lived alone.
Live alone? Or?
No, never. I never went into boarding school. No, I never lived alone. Even college, when I did college, I was coming from my mother's house. So I got married from my mother's house. So there's very little experiences to remember.
Would you have wanted to experience that?
Yes and no. Yes, because I don't know at what stage of my life I would have developed the values that I have now. I don't know if I was going to be able to be in control of myself if I had experienced the singlehood of being away from home, starting life on my own before settling down to get married. Yes, because now when I look at myself now, like I told you, I would not get into anything without my brain, because then I have done the work on myself. I know what my values are. I know what I'm looking for if I'm going into a relationship. I actually know what conversations I want to take part in and which ones I don't. So because of the growth that I have attained now, hence the no, I would have waited. If I had the knowledge that I have now, I would have waited. Yeah.
So how does Patience protect her peace?
I breathe a lot. Like I said, I am that one who breathes in and out. I sing a lot. I love singing, and I choose what conversations to take part in. I'm at a stage in my life where not everything moves me. So I would see a training story on social media. There was a time, if you've been following my socials, there was a time I would want to comment on almost everything and anything, but not anymore. I think that has helped me, because then I don't get to sweat over things that I have no control over. So I protect my peace by choosing which conversations I will take part in, by choosing what I'm going to react to and what I will not react to. I protect my peace by not reacting to everything. Remember, I'm going through different phases of my life. My career is moving a certain direction. Social status, there's a lot of work going on, and I can't afford to just be stressed all the time. Of course, you cannot avoid stress altogether. I try to distress as much as I can.
Is getting married, you said you got married at 23, 24. Is that something that you would advise, I want to say recommend, or like
for a girl or a boy?
Both.
I would recommend it if they have done the work on themselves. I think it speaks to what your values are, and also if you've discovered yourself. There are people who will mature as early as 18 and 19. They will be so grown, you'd be shocked the conversations that they're able to carry. So my understanding is, if they are so mature at that age, then they're able to be in a marriage with somebody and be able to start a family and withstand the challenges that come with the marriage. But then again, we have another social group that will not grow until they're in their 30s and in their 40s. And I would like to speak
50s.
or yes, in their 50s. And I'd like now to refer to my own experience. Now I tell you, at the stage of my life where I'm at, I have done the work with myself. I would know if I want to be with somebody or not. But if I was approached when I was younger, it's a different case.
Yeah.
The values then were different. So it all depends on how much they have matured, how much work they've done on themselves. And that's why when I speak to people that are parenting, us who are raising people now, the work should be on ensuring that they're able to understand what their values are and stick to them before they speak to the next person. Because there's a lot of relearning and unlearning that you must do when you get married. So before you get there, you must be able to have a standing, you must be able to have a foundation. If they have it at 23, please do get married. Because when you have kids at 23, you'll be like me in your 40s, smiling at your grown kids, not worrying about mom guilt. I'm joking.
Wow. Now, what do you want Black women to experience?
Love. True love. I still believe in love. You are conditioned as a Black woman, as a Zambian woman. I'll speak about the Zambian woman because I grew up in this setup. You are conditioned to think you must get the bare minimum from man. And my wish is Zambian women can experience true love, can experience a man that loves and respects them. There's a lot of talk of respect the man, if you respect him, that he's going to stay. But believe me, it works both ways. Believe me, when the women experience true love and respect, you will see how they will glow. That's my wish.
That's your wish.
It's okay to wish. It's free to wish.
Love, huh?
Yes. Let them experience love.
To experience love that doesn't require them being dragged through the pits of...
To not be disrespected because of their gender. I have walked in rooms before where I have been told, you cannot be given this job because you're female. Bluntly like that. To not be disrespected because when you achieve certain things, they want to connect it to who you slept with, who you... Pardon me, but that's what I want a Zambian woman to experience. I want our children, when they grow up, to be able to walk in rooms where they will be respected, not because of their gender, but because they are human.
Human. And how's about just being qualified for it?
Thank you. Let's do the work. Let's go to school. Let's get those qualifications and walk in rooms and be proud of our achievements.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for coming. I know you're really busy, but thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so
I hope I didn't disappoint.
No,
like I said,
not.
I'm used to be on the side of the interview. The other side of the interview is where I thrive, because I'll ask the questions, and to be sat like this by one Sam. You must be a very lucky girl.
I got the exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. I got the exclusive. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. I wish you luck in everything
that you're doing. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Amen.
And amen.
And amen. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next week, Thursday.